Hey everyone, it's Carrie. Today I'm going to show you how to install the TUSHY Bidet Spa. This is the version of the TUSHY Bidet that has temperature control, which means you can wash your butt with both room temperature water or warm water. And if you have your instruction manual, please follow along with this video. Here are the contents of your TUSHY Spa kit. You have your Tushy, of course, and you have your steel flexible hose, instruction manual, and then a little laminated sign that tells you how to use the Tushy. And then you have a bunch of little items, including rubber washers, plumber's tape, and your mega adapter, and they all come in a little brown bag. And then you have your mini adapter with plastic tube, and of course, the beautiful Tushy. First, you need to gather all of the things that you'll need to install your TUSHY Spa. You'll need some towels, and this is to, wipe up any water in case there's leaks. And also, I use towels to actually tighten screws. It's easier, especially whenever you're using these larger screw type of objects. You'll see in a second, don't worry. And you'll also need a bowl. This is for hot water, and I will also explain why in a little bit. You will need a screwdriver, and this is to take the toilet seat on and off. And it is a flathead screwdriver as wide as you can get it. And you may also need a power drill if you do need to drill a hole under your sink cabinetry in order to connect the hot water. But this is something that you may not need. If you have an exposed plumbing sink, like this one shown here, then you do not need to drill. The very first step to installing the TUSHY Spa is to turn off the water supply to the tank. This is super important because if you don't do this and you start unhinging all the parts and stuff, water is going to get everywhere and then you're going to have a flooded bathroom and it's going to be awful. So, moral of the story, turn off the water supply to the wall. I'll show you how. The water supply is usually right beneath the tank on most toilets. And so on this toilet, all I need to do is turn a lever and the water is off. Now check that the water supply is turned off, and you do not want to move on until you've double checked this part. The way to check is by flushing, and you have to do it twice. So let me flush the first time. And that clears all of the water from the tank. And so to really double check, you need to flush again. See, no more water, ready to move on. So the next step is to turn off the water supply under your sink. So this is really similar to what we did in the toilet. Actually, it is pretty much exactly the same, except we're going to do it to the hot water supply under the sink. So we are going to turn this lever, and that is going to turn the hot water off. And to check, all you have to do is run the hot water. So let's go check. Yay, it's off. Success. The next step is to remove the toilet seat, and this is where your flathead screwdriver comes in. So first thing you do is to pop off the caps to your toilet seat and take one of your hands and feel for the nut underneath the screw and start unscrewing. While I'm doing that, have you checked out Tushy's new bamboo jumbo roll toilet paper? And now you can take your toilet seat off and set it aside. And then before you start on anything else, if your toilet seat is dirty, this is now the time to clean it because you're about to get really up close and personal with all of this right here. And also, I'm going to remove the Tushy ottoman and set it aside because it is kind of in my way. I had to call in some backup, and I had to get a wrench because the hot water hose knob was way too tight for just hands. So sometimes you may need to call in backup and you need to grab a wrench. But now it's nice and loose, and we are about to disconnect it. In this next step, we're going to attach the plastic tube plus the mini adapter onto the hot water source under the sink. So the mini adapter is just a miniature version of the mega adapter. The mini adapter is splitting the water up to the faucet and then also to the tushy. And the reason that it's metal is because we're dealing with hot water. Hi, from future Carrie. I had to travel back in time to tell you to put this rubber washer into the mini adapter before you screw it onto your hot water connection, because if you don't do that, water will get everywhere. There'll be tons of leaks. In current time, I actually just tried to turn on all the water connections and realize there's a lot of leaks. So I am future Carrie telling all of you to remember to put the little rubber washer into the mini adapter. And then you're going to connect this, which is the hot water source. This is the hot water source. Going to connect it to the tube that leads up to your faucet. So you can still get hot water in your faucet. There, you're ready to go. Now onto the fun part. Ooh, it's a little scary. You get to use a power tool and drill a hole if you have a cabineted sink area like me. And I'm using like a tiny bit to drill, the smallest hole that I can to fit the white plastic tube through, because I'm gonna hope that my landlord doesn't notice it when I move out. And if you don't want to drill and you do have a cabineted sink, you can also just string the plastic tube through the front of the door, but it will just be a little bit ajar. Okay, now pull the plastic tube through the wall and on to the next step. Now is the time where you're gonna start messing with the actual plumbing of the toilet. And it's not intimidating at all, I promise. I'm gonna step by step show you exactly how to do it. This is a mega adapter and it comes with a Tushy kit. What this does, it splits the water from the water supply from your wall, and it splits it into the tank like it normally does, and it splits it into the Tushy. And that's where you get your room temperature water from. And so what we're about to do is we're going to disconnect the water supply hose from the tank, and we're going to screw this on in between and then reconnect this to the tank and then connect the Tushy to this side. Now this is where you grab your towel and use it to unscrew the tank. It's usually pretty hard on your hands, so I actually like to use the towel. So a little note about these is it's righty loosey, lefty tighty. So just note that for future reference. Now that this is unhooked from your tank, take your mega adapter and screw it onto here. You definitely want to make sure it's nice and tight because this is where the water is coming from. All right, once that is nice and tight, you're going to reattach it to the tank right here. Voila, it's beautiful. Never said that about the underside of a toilet before. And now you are going to attach your steel flexible hose to the mega adapter and then to your Tushy. Again, I use my towel to make sure that it's nice and tight. You're ready to move on to connecting this to the Tushy. So this part is just a little bit tricky, and this is where the ceramic bowl and the hot water comes in. On the Tushy, you have the cold water connection and the hot water connection. Take off the screw on the hot water connection, and then there's a little thing that kind of looks like a nipple in there. And then this is where the bowl and the hot water comes in. So this is my personal tip to making this part much easier. Because this is plastic, you're trying to insert this little nipple thing into this hole. And because it has to be super tight, you have to use a lot of brute force to get it in there. And I've never been able to do this just by forcing it. So I actually put the end of the tube in hot water, and it makes the plastic more flexible. But this piece that was on top of your hot water part of the Tushy, you need to stick it into on top of the tube like this, and then you're able to stick whatever this thing is, the nipple looking thing, inside the tip of the tube. And it's in, everybody. Now you can put this cap back on here, and you're able to screw it onto the hot water connection. Grab your tushy and place it around the toilet, and then screw your steel flexible hose onto the cool water connection. The tushy comes with adjustable sliders, so you can make sure that these holes line up with your toilet. Grab your rubber washers and place them under the tushy where your tushy is going to be placed. This helps prevent it from sliding. Now place your toilet seat on top and put the toilet seat screws in all the way through to the bottom. And then this is where I would recommend holding the nut in place underneath the screw, and then you can feel it screw up, because essentially you're spinning the top of the screw and it's causing the nut to move up. And that's just how a lot of toilet screws are made in my experience. And now just pop the caps back on and you're done. Now it's time for the moment of truth, where we make sure there are no leaks. So we will turn on the water underneath the sink, and we're gonna turn on the water beneath the toilet here and pray that there's no leaks, or else you're gonna have to just do a couple of the steps a little bit over again. It's actually not a big deal, I was just kidding. Okay, let's go. Yes, no leaks. All right, this one. Oh, a ton of leaks. Okay, now that I put the rubber washer in there because I realized I forgot it earlier, I'm going to try again. Success! No leaks, and now we're ready to test out the tushy. Feast your eyes on the beautiful blue and bamboo TUSHY Spa. It's finally installed, and I'm about to show you how it works. These are your control knobs. The top knob, or actually depending on which way you're sitting, the knob towards the front is the pressure knob, as well as the nozzle wash knob. So I'll first demonstrate the nozzle wash. So if you turn your knob to the left, you can see the self-cleaning nozzle that is washing off all of the potentially poo-poo and yucky stuff that you're going to get on there. And then if you turn your knob to the right, you'll get a nice stream of water. This is what you're going to use to wash your bum. And the second knob is your temperature control knob, which is the whole reason why you have the TUSHY Spa. And so on one side it says cool, and on the other side it says warm. And so on my TUSHY Spa, I usually just have the knob turned right into the middle. And so warm water is coming from your sink and into your tushy. Because we are taking the water from your sink and taking it here, just like your sink, it sometimes takes a little bit for your water to warm up. So if you want to use the warm water to wash your booty, I suggest letting the nozzle wash run for a little bit while the temperature knob is on warm. Oh, I can already feel the water getting a little bit warmer, and this is all dependent on how long it takes your water to heat up. It's super warm now, and so if I were pooping, then at this point I would wash my bum if I wanted the warm water. And the last thing I wanted to show you was the nozzle. And so we have a nozzle adjuster that allows the nozzle to move back and forth to adjust for different high set or low set booty holes. And that's it. Thank you for watching my tutorial on how to install the TUSHY Spa. This thing has definitely changed my life, and it's totally worth all of this that you just witnessed. Having warm water and the room temperature water to wash your anus, like that is options, and that is the life of luxury. So enjoy.